Welcome to our first episode of 2026. And before anybody tries to baptize you in the whole new year, new you nonsense, let me ground us in something real. This year isn't asking you to become a different person. It's asking you to stop abandoning the person you already are. In fact, my Substack opener for 2026 is called Mindfulness with Mahara wasn't a brand, it was a becoming. Because that's the truth. Presence reveals you. It doesn't polish you. It doesn't perform you. It reveals you. And if you can actually stay present long enough to hear yourself, you'll start noticing where you've been quietly negotiating your life away. Because you didn't lose your power in one big dramatic collapse. You lose it in tiny deals, quiet deals, polite deals, the kind that sound like maturity, teamwork, professionalism, being the bigger person, keeping the peace. And this is the mindfuck. The peace you've been protecting might be the very thing that's costing you your sovereignty. This is the year a lot of women are claiming they want more clarity, more money, more confidence, more ease, more alignment. But believe me when I say this, you can't receive more while you're still paying for peace with your truth. You can't build a new year on old self-abandonment and expect it to feel like freedom. Becoming doesn't happen where you keep editing yourself into something digestible. So before you sprint into January like you're trying to outrun your own discomfort, I want you to pause and get radically honest with yourself. Where have you been keeping the peace at your own expense? Where have you been shrinking to stay safe? Smoothing things over to stay liked? Swallowing words to stay professional? Taking on more just to prove you're capable, smiling through resentment because it's easier than being direct. Because a lot of successful women aren't living in alignment. They're living in agreements, unspoken ones usually, often inherited ones, survival-based ones as well. And they look so damn respectable from the outside, you don't even realize you've been signing away your sovereignty in exchange for smoothness. And here's what makes it sneaky. You're still functioning. You're still producing. You're still showing up, still being the one everyone counts on. So nobody pulls the fire alarm. Nobody worries about you. Nobody sees the cost to you, but you feel it. You feel it in the tightness in your chest when you're about to speak and you don't. You feel it in the resentment you can't justify because technically nothing is wrong. You feel it in the exhaustion that sleep doesn't touch. Because when you keep choosing peace over truth, you don't just avoid conflict, you abandon yourself. And every time you do that, your shadow queen, well, she doesn't disappear. She just waits. She watches. She keeps receipts. And eventually she stands up and says, enough, not this year. Let's name what this quote peace actually is, because it's not always peace. Not peace as in grounded presence, not peace as in emotional regulation. I mean the kind of peace that's actually just you disappearing in slow motion. The kind of peace that requires your silence, your softness, your self-editing, your constant calculation of other people's comfort. If you're listening and your chest just tightened a bit, good. That's not drama, that's recognition. Because the truth is, a lot of women over the years have been praised for being easy, low maintenance, adaptable, calm, professional, when what they really were was trained, conditioned, programmed to make the room smoother at their own expense. And you've probably gotten very good at it. I know I was. You know how to be the stable one, the reasonable one, the one who doesn't need too much, the one who can handle it, the one who doesn't rock the boat. And somewhere along the way, that role stopped being a strategy and became an identity. Becoming got put on pause so the room could stay comfortable. Is this resonating? Here's what this looks like in real life, because it's really, really sneaky. It isn't very obvious usually. And it's not always you being a doormat. It's you being smart, strategic, reading the room and deciding it's not worth it. Choosing harmony over honesty because you just don't have the bandwidth for the fallout that you know is going to happen. making yourself smaller by one notch because it's easier than explaining, saying yes when your whole body said no because it was faster than holding that boundary tight, taking on the extra task because you don't want to disappoint, answering the email at 9 p.m. because you don't want to look too difficult, staying quiet in the meeting because you don't want to deal with the energy after you speak, laughing something off because naming it would change the dynamic and you are not sure you're ready for that. And here's the piece that ties directly into becoming. Every one of those moments is a fork in the road. One path keeps you safe and smooth. The other path keeps you true. Most women were trained to pick the smooth and call it maturity. And this is the part that matters because it costs you. And the cost isn't just emotional, it's energetic. Because every time you override your truth, you teach your nervous system a lesson. Other people's comfort is more important than my integrity. And that lesson piles up. It becomes a weight you carry everywhere. It shows up in your body, in jaw tension. Your shoulders are scrunched up, shallow breathing, fatigue that doesn't make sense, irritation that really surprises you, a low-grade dread that follows you into rooms that you used to handle easily. It shows up in your relationships. You start feeling lonely even when people are around you because you're not actually there as yourself. Man, that one stuck with me. It shows up at work too. You feel invisible or undervalued, not necessarily because others are mean, but because you keep hiding the parts of you that hold authority. You keep editing your needs into something digestible. You keep presenting the palatable version and wondering why you don't feel met. And I need you to get this, catch this. You cannot become who you're meant to be while you're busy maintaining who you've been trained to be. So let's be honest about why this pattern has such a grip on you, because this is a deep mindfuck. Most women don't fear conflict itself. They fear what conflict threatens: loss of belonging, loss of safety, loss of love, loss of approval, loss of control. So they protect peace to protect attachment. And again, this makes sense. It's human. But if you're listening to this podcast, there's a good chance you're ready for a different agreement, not a reckless agreement, a sovereign agreement, an agreement that says, I will no longer pay for belonging with my silence. I will no longer trade my presence for approval. I will no longer call self-erasure emotional intelligence. And yes, you can be kind, you can be professional, and you can be compassionate without disappearing. This is where the Trinity stops being a concept and starts being a tool. Your shadow queen is the part of you that refuses self-abandonment. She's the one who gets louder when you keep swallowing your truth. Your inner critic is the one who tries to keep you safe by keeping you light. She'll say, don't be a drama queen. Don't be difficult. Keep it professional. Be grateful. Well, she doesn't mean to ruin your life. She means to prevent rejection and uncertainty. But here's the thing. She's not qualified to run the whole show. And your divine guide is the steadiness beneath both. She's the part of you that knows you can be kind and firm at the same time. She's the part of you that can stay present in the moment of choice, the moment you're about to default to peacekeeping and choose truth without making it a war. So let's go find it, because it's not gone. It's just been outsourced. You don't rebuild power from scratch. You don't need to. You just need to remember where you left it. And a lot of women left it in these places, in the sentences they didn't say, in the boundary they didn't hold, in the request they didn't make, in the truth they softened, in the apology they offered for simply having a need, or in the extra task they took on to avoid being judged, in the relationship pattern where they became the emotional manager, in the workplace identity where they became the reliable one and forgot they're also the visionary one. And this is what presence does. It shows you the exact moment you abandoned yourself so you can stop doing it on autopilot. So here are a few questions to ask yourself this week. Where do I say yes when I mean no? Where do I over-explain to earn permission? Where do I anticipate people's needs so I don't have to state my own? Where do I avoid disappointment at all cost of my own truth? Where am I protecting peace instead of protecting integrity? And here's the becoming question, and the one that changes everything. Who am I becoming every time I choose comfort over truth? Wow, mic drop. Okay, what do we actually do with this without blowing up our whole life? I'm sure you're asking. Well, most women try to reclaim power in extremes. Either they keep swallowing everything and call it growth, or they explode it and call it boundaries. Sovereignty is neither. Sovereignty is consistent, clean truth delivered with self-respect. It's your nervous system learning that you can hold your ground without turning into a villain. It's you practicing presence in real time, because peacekeeping is often just dissociation in a cute outfit. You leave your body, you manage the moment, you keep it smooth, and later you wonder why you feel resentful and empty. Micro sovereignty brings you back into yourself, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. Try these micro moves. Replace an immediate yes with, let me check and get back to you. Replace over explaining with, that doesn't work for me. Replace people managing with, I'm not available for that conversation right now. Replace guilt-based compliance with, I can do X, but I can't do Y. Replace emotional labor with, I trust you to handle your feelings about my decision. And this one, add this one in because it's pure presence. Before you respond, take a breath and ask, what's true by one notch? Not what's easiest, not what's safest, what's true. Okay, here's your practice. Small enough to do, powerful enough to change you. For the next 7 days, choose one moment a day where you would normally abandon yourself by one notch and do the opposite by one notch. Not a dramatic confrontation, just one notch. So, for example, if you would normally say yes, say instead, oh, I need to think about it. If you would normally take on that extra task, ask, who else is available to support you? If you would normally stay quiet, ask one clarifying question. And if you would normally apologize, say, thank you for your patience instead. Then write down what happened. Not what you were afraid would happen, what actually happened. Your nervous system needs evidence, and your divine guide needs reps, because trust isn't a thought, it's a practice. Becoming is built on repetition. And I'm going to warn you lovingly, this part can feel very wobbly at first. Some people, they may not like this new version of you, not because you're wrong, because you're different. When you stop peacekeeping, you stop being predictable. And when you stop being predictable, the system around you has to adjust. Some relationships will deepen because you're finally real. Some will be wobbly because they were built on you being convenient. That's not a failure, folks. That's just information. Your becoming will always reveal what was real and what was role-based. And if you read my Substack opener, Mindfulness with Mahara wasn't a brand, it was a becoming, you'll know this is the point. You don't force evolution. You stay present long enough to let it reveal itself. And that revelation will ask you for your honesty in that moment. So let's make this real. One place, one move, that's it. Pick one place where you've been peacekeeping, one, not 10, one conversation, one relationship dynamic, or one workplace pattern. Decide what one notch truth you're willing to practice there this week, then do it. Clean, kind, firm. Then breathe through the discomfort like the sovereign woman you are. If you want a deeper written integration to pair with this episode, go read the Substack anchor that dropped today. Mindfulness with Mahara wasn't a brand, it was a becoming. It's about identity, evolution, trust, and presence. And it will help you to understand why peacekeeping isn't just a habit. It's often an identity you're ready to outgrow. And if you're ready to do this work in a way that rewires you, not just inspires you, here's your next step. go to my website, www.mindfulnesswithmahara.com, and check out my Trinity Transformation. This is where your Shadow Queen teaches expansion through truth and sovereignty. Here's to you, and here's to 2026.